Hello, everyone. Good day, good evening. I don't know what time you'll be watching this, and I don't know where you'll be watching this from, but welcome again to TADF Growth Series. And yes, I know this is a new face. We decided to spice things up a little, and we'll be having, you get to know her very soon. We're having a very, very interesting person on this episode. And before I allow her to speak, let me quickly do a little bit of rundown, an introduction. Her name is Mrs. Ewa Orowale, and Orowale, yes, I stand corrected, Orowale, and she is the executive director for MAYEIN, that's Mentoring Assistant for Youth and Entrepreneurs Initiative. And trust me when I say she knows our onions. She knows them very well. And yes, we are happy to have you on this call, Mrs. Ewa. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Ewa Orowale. I started in the nonprofit space. I think I was just really passionate. I've just always been passionate about the nonprofit space, giving back, volunteering. I was sharing with someone the other day that if there was anything I learned in OAU, like in my how many years in OAU, the Obafemi Awolowo University, I would say that I spent more time volunteering than actually attending my classes, right? So that was something that I just doing. I saw my parents volunteer time, resources, and so it just came to me naturally. And so from there, I had gone into project management. I worked with a few corporate organizations before I did a stint at the Ministry of Education. So I worked as a private consultant with one of the offices in the Ministry of Education, and I finally joined MAYEIN. So yes, passion, but I always say that MAYEIN is the round hole to my round peg. So yeah, it's been really exciting being here and seeing all of the impacts that we can make, not just me, like that we can make. Thank you.
Yes, so I hope people are jotting. Can you see the CV? The list is long. Anyways, so this episode would be focusing on, specifically on, how evolving the nonprofit space is, and what individuals could do, or when it comes to management in the nonprofit space. It's a different industry, right? And because, like she rightly said, passion is something that drives in the nonprofit space, and it is a huge task, right? So we'll be navigating how she has worked on herself. She has been able to achieve a lot, because it's not easy, like you said, like she rightfully said, she skipped classes to volunteer. Wow. So moving on, I'll be asking some questions. Some of them are a little bit personal, and some of them are just on management, basically, of in non-profit space, or let's say leadership and strategy. So I want to ask, first of all, congratulations on your certificate as your certification as so she just earned a certificate as a non-profit manager for in the senior executive space, and that's a very, very huge feat. So I would like to ask, like, what was a defining moment in your career, in your journey, that made you deem it fit that, okay, I think this sky is just the beginning, and I want to do more. I want to be better. So what was that defining moment for you?
So I think it was important, as I mentioned earlier, that the passion has always been there. But I think when a lot of us get into nonprofits, we always wear like rose-colored glasses. So we assume that it's all like sunshine. Oh, I'm going to help people. But then you realize that when it comes to funding, problem. When it comes to community stakeholder engagement, another issues. Sometimes even your beneficiaries give you issues. And so I realized that I had the passion, but when it came to like the proper structuring, that wasn't something that I was really used to. So stakeholder engagement, fundraising, donor mapping. All of those things were things that I had no knowledge about, at least formally on a formal level. And so I realized when I became the executive director. So I became the executive director of MAYEIN recently, and I realized that it was absolutely important for me to deepen my knowledge in the space and then really understand what the structure is like, how I can then lead a team effectively and manage stakeholder engagement and all of that. So yeah, that was one of the things that really inspired me to take the nonprofit senior executive course at the Lagos Business School. Thank you
so much. Congratulations on becoming the executive director. It's not easy, and I believe that it's a combination of years of sacrifice, and the passion is there. And I know you are going to do well. You're going to do great. I can see already. So I want to, like you mentioned, right, when you enrolled for the course when you became ED, right? So what were the challenges that you saw that nonprofit executives generally face today, and how can they maneuver, or what aspects do you think they struggle in balancing mission and sustainability?
Okay, so I think I would say that for a lot of the beautiful thing is, for a lot of nonprofit executives, they're usually founders, so it's your organization, it's a passion, right? But for many others, for many other people who are like senior executives and management on the management level at nonprofit organizations as well, sometimes they transition, so they grew into that role from being a programs coordinator to becoming the head of the department, to being the chief of operations, before finally becoming the executive director. And so sometimes it can be hard for you to transition. You've always known management. So for me, project management has always been a part of me. It's something that I have always done. In my sleep, I can project manage anybody or any particular project, right? So it took a lot of I needed to understand the difference between management and leadership. And so many times you use both. But the problem is when you manage, you're not building leaders. So you give directives, but you don't necessarily help your teammates or even the people who work for you. You don't let them use their initiative, and so they don't grow, right? And then you tend to micromanage. There's just a lot to, in fact, you in the end. And so you needed that's very important. Learning the difference between management and leadership, and that was something that I really had to learn, because left to me, I could do everything myself. But of course I would complain, right? I felt like, oh, nobody can do it the way that I want it to be done. But it's not it's a really case. So that was one thing that I realized that I really needed to learn, the difference, number one. And then I would say for challenges, one of the things, or there are multiple things, but I'm just going to mention a few. One that everybody always mentions in the nonprofit space is funding. I mean, that's basic, because if you don't have the money, how do you then run your programs, right? How do you make positive change if you don't have the money for that? But I think I've really realized that it goes beyond just the funds. When it comes to resources, it's not just financial. Sometimes it's the network of people that you even have. It's exploring your network options. Sometimes people even grant you access to places that money cannot take you into, right? And then it's just a word and you get funding or you get a deal, whatever it is. So I think one challenge that we really, really face as in the nonprofit sector or in this space is funding. I think another one would be working with your team. So your employees, there's a saying that if you want to achieve something, go alone. If you want to, I'm not sure I'm getting it right. But the point is, if you want to get there faster, go with people, right? So if I decide to do something, I may impact just about 100 people. It might even take me a longer period to impact 100 people. But if I have a team of people that we have the same mission, we believe in the same values, the same goals, and our direction or our goal is the same, it's similar, we're bound to get there faster. So we're delegating, everyone has what they're doing, and then that way you can make a larger, or you can make more impact that way. Specifically. So I think it's important that non-profit founders or executives understand the role that their teams play in making like positive impact. That's one thing that I would say I've really seen. When it comes to managing your teams, there's a lot of attrition rates, or people are leaving your work because, I mean, especially Gen Zs, everybody wants to make money, right? But sometimes it's really beyond, I believe that it's really beyond the money. If you let people see value, if you provide value for people, if you let them see that they're adding value and they themselves are growing like personally and professionally, I promise you it's not something that money can buy. So I think the team is one. And of course, I would say maybe your strategy. Sometimes people start initiatives, foundations, non-profit organizations, and then they don't have the strategy. So you have the funding, you have the team, but you are everywhere and nowhere. You're just doing multiple things. So the strategy is also very important.
All right, thank you so much. So I've picked a thing or two from what you just said, and I'll be asking some questions again, so that we can fleshing it out. So the first would be concerning, doing a lot of things. I think you've mentioned it, a little when you mentioned something concerning the difference between leadership and management. And so for leadership, that means your group or your team has to also grow alongside you, so that there's substance. Absolutely. Yes. So I now want to ask personally, and you can also generalize. It's not easy to manage, your roles and also to lead. So how do you balance, burnout? I'm still looking for the best way to put it. How do you avoid burnout? Yes, I think how do you avoid burnout? Because you have a lot of responsibilities. So how?
Mm-hmm. So I would say delegate. It's hard. It really is hard, but it's something that must be done. So you must learn to delegate, number one. That's very, very important, absolutely important. Number two, I would say time management is also important. I can't even lie. That's one thing that I battle with. That's one thing that I would say a lot of people, because you come to work in the morning and then you've written out your to-do list for the day, but you're in the office and then somebody comes and says, oh, I need help with this. You do it. Another person comes. By the time you know it's 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. and you're going home and you haven't touched your own tasks, but you've helped every other person achieve their deliverables except yours, right? And it's a little bit more complex now for you, because you now have to focus on donor management as an executive director or senior management, whichever the case. You now have to focus on not just donor management, but even managing stakeholders, the board, and all of that. So sometimes you're just going to have to maybe set boundaries and say, oh, okay, I'm available to take to help out in any way possible between the hours of maybe 12 and 2 or 12 and 3 p.m. And then you do focused work. Focused work is very important. Many times we say, oh, okay, you're working on something, and then a call comes in and you have to take the call. And of course, you get distracted and you can't go back to your work. So I think time management is very key. Set out time for you to do focused work. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours, and then you take maybe 30 minutes break to check your phone. One of the things that I would say has really helped me in time management is, so on my phone, I've been able to block out a lot of my apps from 10 a.m. to maybe 5 a.m. So even when the person is saying, oh, ma, we've posted, oh, please go and I'm like, okay, I would like to, because I know that once I go on Instagram,
exactly.
It's very key. And then, of course, learn to delegate. So for every team, you have people who are good at different things, right? Everyone has an area of strength or an area of weakness. So it's important that we leverage their skills, we leverage the strengths that they bring to the table, and then just let them do the tasks. For some, it even helps them grow, because if you are growing as an individual and you expect them to help your organization grow, then it's important that they grow as well. So I think that's one thing that can help. And then lastly, which is very important, you need to take some time to rest. I heard someone painted an analogy for me once and said, If your car is faulty, you hear a terrible sound in your car, what would you do? You go to the mechanic, and then the mechanic says, I cannot travel with this car. You have to park somewhere. Would you travel? Of course, because nobody wants to die, right? So you park your car somewhere and wait until it's fixed before you travel. But for us and our bodies, you know that you are sick. You can feel it. Sometimes you go to the hospital, the doctor tells you, oh, you need to get some rest. But guess what? Monday morning, we're back at it again, and then we're going. So if you cannot treat your car that way, why should you treat your body that way? Do you understand? Because when you can't even rest, when you're stressed, it affects, you can't even work optimally, you can't even do, like, you're not productive. So it's just better that you set out some time, set some time aside for you to rest. I like taking power naps. So 5 minutes, 10 minutes during my lunch break, I just take power naps. There's a way that it re-energizes me and refreshes me. So yeah, I think that helps.
Thank you so much. I think I've even learned from you. You see, that rest is very, very important. It's very, very important. And the next question I want to ask is it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter question. So the first part is that for emerging non-profit leaders that are listening, what skills do you think they should work on? Well, what are the major skills that are needed to be a leader in the non-profit space? Then secondly, the second part is that if you are now going to generally advise, right, someone who is just setting out on his or her journey in the non-profit space, of course everybody wants to grow, and one day they might want to set out to begin their own non-profit organization, or maybe in their current space they want to advance, gain more knowledge. What advice would you give to such an individual?
So I would say first, for those who are maybe currently in the non-profit space or looking to get in, I would say the skills that they need to get: number one, people management. Honestly, the gift of people is not something that we can realize or minimize, or it's very important. People management skills is utterly, absolutely important, and I would say that falls under emotional intelligence. So it goes hand in hand, really. So you need to learn how to communicate with people. You need to learn how to manage your relationship with people. You don't necessarily have access to someone, maybe a mentor, and then you only reach out to them when you need them. That is wrong on every level, right? So learn how to engage people. Send them a text. Oh, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. I trust that you're doing well. I'm just checking in. So that when you do need them, then it's not that, oh, it's only when this person needs me that they reach out. You want them to give you a reference or a reference letter. Don't only reach out when you need them. Do you understand? So that's one thing, people management. And then I would also say strategy. So I think that's absolutely important. You can't start something if you don't even know your why, which is also what I would say to someone who wants to go into the non-profit space. What is your why? Why are you going into non-profits? Is it because, and this cuts across even non-profits, right? Why do I want to work in a bank? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to be a doctor? It cuts across all sectors, all aspects of our lives. What is your why? What defines you, right? And then that's what's going to now help you determine what is the problem that I want to solve. What problem are you trying to solve? What solution do you believe is going to solve or sort this problem? And then how can you make it sustainable? So I would say strategy, people management, and then service. Many times we overlook the part of service. I think that is absolutely important. It's something that we don't really consider important again in today's world. No offense to the Gen Zs, but I think it's very important for us to understand that, because if you come with a heart of service, there's no way that people not, and I'm not even referring to just your beneficiaries or the people, like, I'm not necessarily referring to the marginalized communities. I'm saying you have a mentor, right? You want someone to mentor you, or you have a role model, or you want access to someone. Service is just have a heart of service. It's very important. It takes you places, or you can offer them your services. It doesn't have to be money-based or money-bound. I don't have to get into the non-profit space and then the first thing I'm looking to earn is 800,000 naira. In fact, there are a lot of non-profit organizations that'll tell you that if you want to volunteer, we're sorry, but we're not able to pay you right now, because it's not everybody that gets donor money. I mean, even the donor money is there's fatigue everywhere. Like for example, the people who had gotten the USAID grants or the fund, where are they now? Like, right, they're trying to find ways to steady their feet and just basically live, like swim rather than sink, right, because of the situation at hand. So it's not everybody that gets donor money, and they're even far apart for many of us, right? So I doubt that somebody will be willing for you to come in and then you're just sitting down. So even if they say, oh, I'm sorry, we're not willing to pay you right now, it's okay. Let them see the skills, what you bring to the table first. Let them see the value that you bring. That's very important. I think service is overlooked, but it is a very, very important part of working in a nonprofit or even getting into that space. And then, of course, I think I talked about your mission, right? What is your why? What's your reason? So I think that's very important. What is the problem you're trying to solve? And then what is the solution? What's your value proposition? What makes you different from all the other 1 million other nonprofits that focus on youth development, or the people who focus on girls' education, or the people who focus on financial literacy and inclusion? What makes you different? What's that niche that is peculiar to you alone? So I think that's something that they also need to find your niche and then work with that.
Thank you very much for sharing. In fact, this is very insightful. Thank you. And I believe everyone can, relate to one thing or the other, especially those who are, really interested in, doing something in the non-profit space. And so lastly, it raises, a personal question. So the question is, what is next for you on your personal journey and, professional growth journey? Is this a form of... Yeah, go on, please.
Yes, absolutely. So I think one of the... I'm taking a breather. I literally just finished one. So so I think for me right now, I'm just more concerned about putting all of the learnings that I got, and even down to the paradigm shifts, the mindset shifts that I learned and got, and putting it into building the organization, like my organization, right? I'm doing step down trainings for members of my team, because we need to all grow together. They must also have those step down trainings. And then I really believe that for one of the things that I would say I really enjoyed was the gift of access. I was able to leverage the people who I had known in my personal network who were already in nonprofit space, and they were able to guide me. So mentorship is very important. So I think for now, I'm very open to having young people who have questions. I'm very open to answering their questions, to guiding them on their nonprofit journey. And then most importantly, I'm looking to access more opportunities, learn more. I mean, who knows? You might just be a doctor of sustainability, something, right? So
that's true.
That's it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So it's not a stop. It's a pause, and you're willing to also assist others. I think that's very, very remarkable. Thank you so much. So is there a way people who might be curious to get to know more could reach you, maybe through LinkedIn? I don't know if there's any platform that you want to welcome those who might have questions, they might need directions, or might even want to volunteer to work with you. So is there any platform through which they could do that, they could reach you?
Yes. So MAYEIN's website is mayein.org. So www.mayein.org. So we have a button for volunteering there, and then we also have a few resources if you want to read up. Then we have a podcast, surprisingly, it's called the Impact Bureau Podcast. Actually, it's a podcast where we share insights into anything non-profit. So you want to start a non-profit, how do you even like select your board? How do you choose a name? You know, there's some people that choose names and then the name does not even align with what they're doing, or you select a board and the board is your mommy.
The board is a blackboard.
So how do you select your board? How do you come up with a strategy document? All of those things were on YouTube. Impact Bureau, Bureau. And then my name on LinkedIn is Ewa Orowale. So I'm very happy to connect with anyone who has questions, who would like to get into the nonprofit space. I'm very happy to meet with you and then answer the questions that you have. So thank you so much.
Thank you
Chuben.
so much. Thank you. It's an honor to have you, with us, because I've learned a lot today. I don't know if you noticed, I was jotting here and there, so I've really learned, a lot. And thank you for your time. So there you have it. We've discussed with the remarkable Mrs. Ewa Orowale, and we've been able to learn a thing or two from our journey, from our personal journey, and she's willing to assist those who are interested in getting into the non-profit space, and those who are also willing to improve. So there you have it. She's available to assist. So thank you once again for your time, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching this episode to the end. If you are here at this time, it means that you've really enjoyed it. So thank you, and do well to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.
And bye.